Hey, what's going on, my fellow YouTubers? Okay, it's been a while since I last made a video, and I do apologize to everyone who has been leaving comments under the videos and I haven't been replying. Um, I've been working a lot extra lately because my student loans are coming out of my check, so I don't know if anybody can relate, but yeah, they are eating a good they are eating a good chunk out of my check. So I've been working a little extra to try to, cover the expenses. Um, to those who have left comments and I hadn't replied to them, I really am sorry, but that's the main reason. I've been working. I get the notifications about them. I just either I'm at work or I'm at sleep getting ready to go to work. But to answer some of the ones that I can't remember about my Equinox, once again, this is a 2011 Chevy Equinox, the base model. And from if you see my other videos, you pretty much know what was going on with the engines. I saw some of the comments, some good, some bad. For those people who laughed or whatever with the unnecessary comments, it doesn't hurt my feelings for one. And most of you are right. I'm not car suave. I don't really know too much about cars. I just know some of the basics. So yeah, you have a right to laugh. Did that really just come on? That just came on. Okay. Whatever. Um that really just came on. All right. Ain't that a bitch? All right, whatever. So to the people who left the negative comments, that's cool. You're right. Some of you are right. You should know more about your car, but I don't. I work a lot. I don't really have free time to sit there, whatever about the car manual forms and stuff. To recap, this Equinox had problems with oil going into other parts of the engine, the exhaust being one of them. And I'm not for sure where the other places were. Neither was the dealership when they did it, when they diagnosed it, whatever. To give you guys a quick recap of the problems to look out for. Once again, this is a 2011 Chevy Equinox, the base model. If you're at a red light or a stop sign, complete stop, foot's on the brake, you're not moving, you're not inching up or whatever. If you feel it, jerking slightly forward and backwards, you should start checking your oil. The second warning, as you saw from the other videos, when I was at the red lights and stop signs, it just completely cut off. You need to start keeping an eye on your oil. Even if it hasn't given you problems yet, that doesn't mean it won't. Keep an eye on your oil levels. Check your oil. Make sure it's where it's, make sure it's there for one, because when I had oil changes done, oil was not coming out of the oil pan like it was supposed to be, for one, which was a concern because I had gotten oil changes before, and for them to sit there and say, oh, well, there's no oil in your car is quite concerning. I just recently went and got an oil change, and the guy told me that my oil came out dark, it was liquidy, which, okay, I'll accept that over him saying there's no oil, period. So keep an eye on your oil. That's mainly all it is with these, oil is going into the exhaust and somewhere else, and it's not supposed to be. I've been babying this car. I work 5 minutes from my house now. Instead of working downtown, I work 5 minutes from my house. So I don't go far. I don't really go out much anywhere in this vehicle because, as you can see, stuff like that happens, and I get paranoid that I'm going to get stuck on the side of the freeway. Now, once again, warning signs come with the car jerking at a complete stop. It's not a heavy jerk. It's like a slight jerk. Like, you'll feel it. Another thing is, if you're at a complete stop, or if you're like just the light turn screen, I'm sorry, and it's like the RPM drops and then picks up, it's a loss of power. You should consider, hey, something's up. Let me check under my hood. The final stage comes when, if you're at a red light, from my previous video, if you're at a red light and the car cuts off, you're at a stop light and the car cuts off. The car just cuts off at random. Then that's it. That's when your car is like pretty much oh shit mode. Service stability track is gonna come on. A bunch of random shit's gonna pop up on the display. So if you haven't gotten to that point, good. But at this point, I really, that is really annoying me. I need to check that. But if you haven't gotten to that point where your car is randomly cutting off, that's great. But you should still keep an eye on your oil levels. Check all your fluids, but mainly check your oil, because that's what's going on. Oil is slipping out somehow. I did notice a while back I had an oil leak, and now I don't. Like, I've gotten an oil change. I've had oil change beforehand, and I'm not leaking oil. I have oil spots in my driveway, but no oil leak anymore. I'm not for sure what was going on, but it's not leaking oil, period, which is good. Bad, but good. Trying to think. I'm trying to remember some of you guys' comments. This is 2018. I haven't had problems with it, aside from that just happening. That's annoying. That's really bugging me, and I'm sorry for bringing that up. But I'm in my driveway. I'm not even in park. I'm not even in drive, and that comes on. What kind of shit is that? Whatever. But I haven't had any problems with it. For those of you that have a Chevy Malibu, the base model, the 2011. What happened with that? I don't know if I just said anything about it in my last video, but what happened with that one is I was driving, I was doing about 70, and it just cut off. Like, just straight up cut off. I rolled to a stop on the side of the freeway, got into a dealership, and was told that the main bearing spun out. The cause of that is the car needed oil. And I told the guy at the dealership, I pulled up records, he pulled up records. That was my weekend car. That was my main baby. That was my first car. That's my first Malibu. Not my first Malibu, but And I took care of it. Oil changes, car washes, everything. And for it to just all of a sudden spin out because of no oil, I told him that's crazy. He's looking at the paperwork and stuff, but GM didn't want to do anything with it or about it. So now it's just sitting here. It's paid off. This is paid off, and they're just sitting here. Well, not this, but that's just sitting there. Dealership said it was going to be about $6,000 to replace the engine and stuff, and I told them, not in this lifetime. My friend who owns a dealership said $1,300, and he'll replace the entire engine, with another engine from another model. But he's gonna do the water pump, check some parts out before he drops it in my car. For $1,300, that's cool. I'll take $1,300 over $6,000 any day. So the Equinox is holding on. I've been babying it. I don't go far. The Malibu is completely dead. Now, I don't know if don't remember is that a dent? Who the fuck put a dent in my car? Alright, people. Okay, so I'm not for sure if I said anything in my last video, but my mom heard about my mishap with my Malibu, the Equinox, and I don't know if I said anything about the Honda over there. I got off of Craigslist for $800. It got me from point A to point B for about a week, and the transmission went out, which is, no big deal. It was a cash car, as to be expected. The funny part is, even though the transmission won't shift out a second, and I think I have some other lights on the dashboard, it's more reliable than this. Well, obviously that. And this. Now, that's a 2016, 2017 Chevy Cruze. And it's nice. My mom got it for me. She bought it for me. Brand new. Had 0 miles on it. Had maybe one problem with it. One major problem with it. Nothing mechanical with the engine yet. Had a problem with it after Hurricane Irma. I live in Houston, Texas. Hurricane Irma pretty much flooded half of Houston. But my neighborhood is flood control. Did not flood at all on my street, in my neighborhood, anywhere. I didn't even drive the car for a solid week because of the hurricane. Went to go and get some food and the car wouldn't start. The alarm didn't even disengage because the whole car was dead. According to the dealership, the battery had flooded. And I told them, what do you mean? They asked me if the car flooded, and I told them no. I mean, it's obvious. If the car is flooded, why the fuck would I bring it to the dealership? Come on, be serious. If it's flooded, why would I bring it to the dealership? Because it won't start. That's basic. Stop being basic. So they're like, okay, we'll check your battery, yada, yada, yada. Like I said, they said the battery was flooded. Okay, I'm not for sure how the hell that happened. The battery is not one of those ones where you have to put water in it. Whatever. So they replaced it. I mean, they kept it overnight. Just to replace the battery, they kept it overnight. And I get it back the next day. I get to work because, I went straight from the dealership to work. I had got dropped off at the dealership and picked it up, took it to work, left work, and it wouldn't start. I'm like, are you fucking kidding me? Let the dealership know, oh, the battery had a dead cell. We think you might have a parasite in your electricals, so we're going to keep it another night, check your electricals, etc., etc. All right, cool. You know what? Shit happens. Whatever. Get a phone call the next day. Oh, the battery that we gave you had a dead cell. All right, let's stop tripping with these batteries. Brand new car. I bought it from you guys, brand new, 0 miles. Now you're telling me this shit with the battery. Okay, whatever. All right, that's cool. So with the 2016, 2017 Chevy Cruze, check your battery. If it hasn't given you any problems, that's cool. That's great. I went and got my tires done. I bought new tires for it because, no, I didn't get new tires for it. What did I do? I had a blowout. There we go. I was driving it. I had some friends. I had a blowout in the back tire. And I went to the dealership and had the tire replaced. With these cars, this car is mostly computer. So it has push start, etc., etc. Another thing is when I had called for them to come pick it up, this car is push start. With push start, I'm pretty sure a lot of you people know with push start, if your car doesn't have that key where you can stick it in like what is it called, shift lock, you're pretty much fucked. This car doesn't have it, at least this particular one. It doesn't have it. There was no way for me to get it out of park into neutral. So the guy that had the tow truck, he tried to give it a jump start. That didn't work because I had tried previously and I told him it's not gonna work. And he tried to give it a boost, it didn't work for him either. So he ended up dragging it and towing it to the dealership. So if you have this car, there's no way to get out of park. Yeah, if there is, please feel free to let me know. But I couldn't figure it out, and he couldn't figure it out, so we dragged it, not far. But back to the main story. With these cars, it's mostly computer. So you have to be careful with every little thing on here. The guy that did my tire apparently hit a sensor or something that was in the back tire, which caused the car to freak out half a mile away from the dealership. StabiliTrak, which I still don't know what it really is, but StabiliTrak came on the display screen, followed by Power Assist also came on. Power Assist is basically your power steering. So when that little sensor in the back tire was hit, the whole car just freaked the fuck out because apparently it thought it was an accident or what, I'm not for sure. But StabiliTrak and Power Assist both went completely off. But luckily I was coming into the neighborhood, and when that happened, it wasn't nothing major. The Power Assist went out, which is basically power steering, shut off, and it wasn't hard to turn, but you had to give it a little muscle to get the car to turn. I got to my driveway. I immediately called the dealership. They said to let it disconnect the battery, let it sit for a little bit, reconnect the battery, and try to drive it again. I did that, and everything was okay. I mean, I have 3 Chevys in my driveway. I can't. I refuse to go through this shit with them. This was given to me. I cannot go through with it. I'd rather drive the car that won't shift out a second than to go through this shit again. If you guys have any questions, any comments, feel free to hit me up. I will try to reply to them as quickly as possible. I promise I'll do a little bit better in replying to your messages, on YouTube. But yeah, negative comments are welcome. I saw some people had left some negative comments. That's fine. We're all adults. It's not going to hurt my feelings. And like I said, I should know my cars better, but I've been working. I haven't had time to sit and go through the Chevy forums and do this and do that. I know about that car. That's a 1999 Honda Accord. I know more about that car than I know about these cars put together. I haven't sat down, haven't had the time to go through any of that. If you guys have any questions, comments, feel free to leave them below. This is 2018, and so far with my Chevy Equinox, no problem, except for that shit right there that happens in the fucking driveway in fucking park. Sorry about the language.